My last video was vertical, so I'm going to do this one horizontal. Something very interesting just occurred to me, and I'm just going to frame it in the context of like a little joke, because I learned that from Sonia. But I was talking with someone, and we were discussing the medical marijuana that's available, and one of the things that came up was like how the terpene or how the profiles are different for the medical marijuana than they were for the illicit recreational marijuana that I used to use when I was younger. And also, I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking about the THC profile and how it seems to be so much higher in these plants or whatever. And it's like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, did they actually grow these plants with this amount of THC, or am I smoking spice? Because they've made this product legal in Virginia, but it is still federally illegal. So I don't know how many people actually pay attention to stuff like that. Like if I was a federal agent and I worked for an organization that felt like it and had the authority, we could just raid the fuck out of these dispensaries. But what if they're not actually serving THC? What if they're serving something akin to THC? Or you know what I mean? Like, what if it's actually hemp extract sprayed on these plants type shit? Now, I'm not claiming that that's what it is. And if you're one of these people who's worked on these plants and you worked your fucking ass off growing them, then please don't take it personally. I'm not lashing out at you. I'm voicing an interesting thought that I just had. Because I don't understand why you wouldn't put the federal clearance first. I mean, you know what I mean? Why you wouldn't put the why wouldn't you change it so that you're not going to get shot up? One of the dispensaries is right near an armory. So, this is my whole point about like people not playing fair. You didn't change the rules for everyone before you started doing it. And you say, yes, we did, but I got raided over the DMT. Everybody in their right fucking mind knows that should not have happened, and that the only reason that happened is because someone got greedy. So I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just pointing out that considering how much synthetic marijuana I smoked when it was available, like the first go round, like the 2012 era, and how, we want to talk about psychiatric visits and stuff like that. This is the last visit. That's what the last video was about, was an experience that I had during a psychiatric visit. Well, guess what? I fared pretty well with the synthetic marijuana. I actually enjoyed it. And I still did pretty well in school. I used to actually use it in high school. I acknowledge that sometimes I may have perhaps used a little more than I should have in any given situation, but we live and we learn. I was pretty young, and I was dealing with a very powerful chemical. I was trying to maintain control over some very powerful chemicals, and I succeeded. I just struggled at certain points. I also won't name any names, but I helped someone with a local outdoor grow project one time, back when it was still very illegal. Although, once again, people shouldn't just take something as bad or something they should stop just because it's listed as illegal, once again. So I sampled that product. So I know what a clean grow is like. I might not have the most experience with like a ton of variety of stuff, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't need that because I'm positive that I got enough information from that one grow and the way that it was grown that I can pretty well extrapolate that enough for now. I'd love to learn more. I'd love to do more. I'd love all that. But I'd also like access to a laboratory with a Spectre grow. Maybe I should just buy one. Buy one of my own. I'll probably do better than the labs that are available, most of them, or at least the ones I could afford. Unless someone wants to work with me from a purely scientific and philanthropic perspective, I'd be down. Like I was saying in another video recently, I'm planning on doing extractions again. I'm just not going to use the MHRB because that's what I got charged with, was possession of dimethyltryptamine based on MHRB, based on having a bag of MHRB. 2 bags, 2 charges. So, the Kratom thing is going to be scheduled at some point, but it's not yet. So I'd like to hop on that real quick, see if I can do some Kratom extractions. No, I don't plan on selling them. I'm planning on using them medicinally and spiritually with supervision from multiple elders who are trained in medicine and other areas. Where's my coffee? Hold on. I also want to try, I mentioned I want to try extracting from grains as well. Seeing as like root bark is not that dissimilar from a grain in the sense of that it grows in the ground. The whole point is that these plants, they just suck it up from the soil. They suck up dimethyltryptamine from the soil. Or whatever, maybe they make it themselves, I don't know. Or maybe they synthesize it from something. But my impression is that it's likely in the soil or something. Hell, I could probably even take some soil and find some in it. I don't know how much. But I wonder, though. I want more information. I have a lot of Gestalt information, and I have some pretty specific academic information, but the way that I want to approach things is fundamentally different from the way most of the academic industry is approaching things. And my father is an education expert, and he chose to, instead of doing a doctorate that didn't exist and having to wait until someone developed it for him, he just stopped going to school and did his doctorate coursework himself on medical technology, and he owned a publishing company and brought the top medical experts in the world together for conferences. I've mentioned this before in other videos. So that's the environment I'm in. I don't know if you can tell by how it looks. It looks like I'm in like this. That's chemistry lab lighting. This is the kitchen. Now, I've done a lot of things my parents haven't done. So, like, it's not like they handed down the extraction tech to me necessarily. But I did find SIBS tech on the internet, and I did enough chemistry. I was really good at chemistry in school until, I encountered most of my issues once again. And it's like I still could be good at chemistry in school. It's just that the school system isn't working with me properly. It's not that I'm not good at stuff and I can't learn. It's not that. It's just that I've kind of hit a roadblock with my compatibility with the current education system, current education system. See this? If you're watching this, you're engaging with an education system. But I digress. Back to what I was saying about the marijuana industry right now. The whole point is that I found out that a lot of people who claim to be doing the real thing are not, and they're lying. And that doesn't mean that you should assume that people are lying by any means. I don't think you should assume people are lying. I think if you're gonna make an assumption, you should assume that they're not lying and then check the facts. So I'm not accusing these people of putting synthetic, and by the way, the word synthetic is very loose. Maybe perhaps the review of what my synthetic DMT process would have looked like, a synthesis. Like photosynthesis. I don't know, I'm just saying, plants do synthesize things. Oh, are you sitting there thinking, do they synthesize photos for my Instagram? Go smoke a weed and find out. Anyway, so I guess to conclude the video, because I think it wasn't really that crazy. I could, if someone was hanging out with me here, right next to me, I could have just said, hey, do you think that they're adding cannabinoids? Do you think they're spraying these weed plants? I could have just said that. And then I could have said, what do you think they're spraying it with? And then we could have said, well, how much money do we have? We should go get a spectrograph or something. Well, I probably would have already had one. If I was in a position where someone was going to hang out with me like that, I probably would have already had one by now. Ah! Alas, I'm circumcised in the new era, and I know it, and I'm dissenting, and so that's unpleasant. So I don't have anyone to hang out with, at least not that personally. And that's also why I need to smoke so much, or why I'd like to have access to proper cannabis products, as well as the other things. But anyway, so to close up the video, I'm going to tell you about the products that I used to use, synthetic cannabis, back when they first became popularized. So in this area, it was basically just, you could walk into gas stations, possibly even smoke shops, and purchase this synthetic marijuana. And it was under multiple names. One of the ones that actually was my favorite was the Space Cadet brand. That shit was lit. I would love to find out what kind of I'd love to find out which analog that was. Might have been a blend. And then there were just some random ones floating around too. But most of them were bullshit. For most of them, either the high was fucking retarded or it was weak. That's it. Most of them were either retarded or weak, but some of them were really fucking good. Actually, one of the ones that was really good, but I either caught a stomach bug while I was on it, or something else. Something else happened. Something happened while I ran out of it. That's what it is. I went on a trip to Florida and I ran out of it. And simultaneously, I was coming off my ADHD medications from school. And I caught a fever and went into seizures. And I had to be taken to the hospital, and they had to test me for spinal meningitis. And it was really, my stomach was being affected too. But I think that was because back then, I was using the first generation of vape pen. And I had created the vape, I had just sourced some AKB48 from the internet. And someone just straight up sent me some AKB48, and I was sick. And I appreciate that. But unfortunately, as I've learned, going forward, we survived, right? But going forward, I believe that research chemicals probably shouldn't be experimented with by people who like swimming, unless they have a lifeguard and a coach and a few teammates. So, relatively speaking, I'm okay. But a lot of things, that's not the only thing. Don't worry about it. Relatively speaking, I'm okay considering what I've went through, but I learned how serious these things can be, and I think some people were not okay from using that product or those types of products. That was also when bath salts they were prevalent, and once again, I'm still not clear what that was. I guess it was some sort of advanced amphetamine or something, or compounded amphetamine. It probably had opioid rings. It probably was an opioid amphetamine or something like that. I have no idea, but like a speedball or something. Or maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was sensationalized and misconstrued. I have no idea. So there's probably some pretty good consensus data on it out there. So you could probably go read it. And it might not tell you everything, but you can at least start to make your own decisions and thoughts about it. And so I'll finally get to, I won't explain how I acquired it, but I was privy to some actual K2 at some point. Thank God. That was the best. But unfortunately, I didn't get to use everything that I had because of restrictions, which is, I guess, fine. Considering the context, I can't really imagine anything else that should have been done at the time other than take it away from me once it was found out that I was using it. But once I have my actual medication routine settled, which once again, it's a fucking sliding scale. There's no guarantee. Every shipment that I get of medications or whatever you want to call it, there's no guarantee it's going to be the same or any good, or even what's being told that I'm getting. I would have to, once again, be able to verify that myself. And it's not that I don't trust, well, okay, no, I don't trust anybody. But on top of that, if I'm pretending to trust people, then I pretend to trust these people as much as I pretend to trust anybody. So once I get all that settled, maybe I can have conversations with not just doctors, but other researchers, hopefully. I'd love to get out of this imposed isolated period. It's very hard for me to imagine anyone having a clear and positive impression of me at this point due to the way things have transpired. But I'm hoping over time that things will get cleared up, because I think most of the reasons that people dislike me or could dislike me are because of lies, misunderstanding, not understanding what's happening with me, preconceived notions, a desire not to understand and just be arbitrarily harmful, or just lack of information. Like I said, not just misunderstanding, but actual information, misinformation. That's probably the main thing, is just if someone comes across information about me, often it's probably not true. Or if it's quote unquote true, it might be presented in a way that doesn't actually fairly represent what's going on. And because the reason I say that is because that seems to be the name of the game that people are playing against me. And I hate this game. I hate this fucking game with a vengeance, because it's just it's lying. Let me put it this way. If you're working on a project and there's 10 steps in that project and you actually fucking need to do the project for your own existence, and there's 10 instructions and every one of them is wrong, so, I mean, my instructions I write, I try to get them right for explaining people who I am and how to treat me. In the past, I've also been very sarcastic about things. Yes, I know I have a lot of dirt under my fingernails. I don't know where that came from. I think I might sleepwalk sometimes. Anyway, back to the point was, I wouldn't mind experimenting with some of these research chemicals again sometimes, under the context of knowing exactly what they are, or at least knowing exactly what they're purported to be. But I need to be very careful with my mental health, so I'm not fucking with that shit right now. And frankly, I wonder if even the cannabis that I'm getting from the dispensary is actually as good for my mental health as it could be. I'm definitely grateful. See, this is the thing. I want to clarify this. I used to only smoke dimethyltryptamine that I extracted by myself with a tech that there's only so many variations you can add to a tech, but a tech that I designed myself off of Sib's tech. And that was enough for me. I didn't need anything else except in emergencies. But that got taken away from me. So now I have to replace that with every drug except that one, every major category drug. I mean, even the ketamine is in the same category, but due to the way it's being administered, it's not sufficient by itself. And the way that it was extracted is not, it wasn't, I'm pretty sure either a machine did it or someone who, isn't me did it or whatever. So like, I'm glad it's there. I don't want to relinquish these prescriptions. I'm very happy that I'm getting the correct prescriptions, or so it seems. However, if I don't get to treat myself with that dimethyltryptamine extraction again, I'm not sure I'll ever actually get better. You know what I mean? I might stay stasis and like stabilize over time. Maybe I can find other ways. I'm not trying to, and this is the thing, is that people seem to, I can feel people they start aiming at me like this and start finding ways to discredit what I'm saying or look for like shit or ways to say that like what I just said is not valuable. Like, oh, he's addicted to it. Like he's narrowing in on it. He's a threat. He's aggressive. When really all I did was point out something really poignant, that it seems to me that the only way that I can actually get better is by treating myself. With support, but it seems like the only way that I can actually get better is by treating myself. And we have 15 years of examples. And we also have 31 years of people making excuses and attacking me and blaming me. So when I become concerned about what's in my cannabis, it's not because I'm trying to eliminate competition. I don't have any competition. You guys don't get it. If you're trying to compete with me, this is not I'm not just talking about the cannabis thing. I'm not just a cannabis person. I'm a human being, and I'm what do you put it? I'm an enlightened individual who cares. You know what? Here, I'll explain it to you this way. This might not explain everything to you, but I wanted to give you a little context. Sorry, my brain's fried. Hold up. Damn it. All right, now, anyone who I had to do that, to prove anything to explain anything to, is most likely now sitting, 50% of you probably, are now sitting there going, that's cap! He didn't actually play that. I didn't see his fingers. He didn't actually play that. That's cap. More like, that's captain. I fucked it up already. By the way, the reason obviously, like, I haven't been practicing much, so it's pretty impressive that I can play it at all. But what's actually going on is that I'm being threatened. I'm being threatened with death as I'm playing this piece, and it's fucking with me. I know that you might not be able to perceive that as a viewer, but right now there's a sheriff in Fairfax County who's aiming at my head metaphorically. And a chief of police. The problem with this, and I hate to explain it to you people, is if I actually play it correctly, you won't be able to handle it. If I ace it, you'll lose your fucking shit and resort to violence, which you might be trying to do anyway. So I have a little autonomous limiter, and this is with all of my instruments and stuff, but specifically with the piano I notice it most. I have a little autonomous limiter that won't let me play it right until everyone who's being a stupid ass little bitch is either gonna get absolutely slaughtered after I play it right, or just can't fucking do shit. Now, hit me up if you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about and you experienced that at this level. See, it's like I can't actually do it right until I fuck up enough times and do it so badly that everyone feels convinced that they're better than me. Isn't that weird? I can only play this piece properly, it seems, when everyone involved feels like they could do it better if they just felt like it. Isn't that weird? And see, now you want me to punch myself in the face and hang myself and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Or you just want me to play it right. It's either or usually. At this point, people are usually so fucking triggered that they either just want me to do it right or just want me to fucking fail entirely. Also, I had a major surgery on this left hand, major reconstructive bone surgery, and I had an unattended issue that could have required surgery since high school in this wrist, and this bone has popped out right here in my hand. So please understand this is, and also I've had so many brain damages that I'm not even sure if this is my brain anymore. So when I'm having trouble with this, I'm doing this to explain to you that I've spent time in my life becoming a better person, becoming educated, becoming enlightened. I may not be perfect, but I'm not just your run-of-the-mill, can't tell what time it is anymore because I smoked a little Space Cadet. That's right, bitch. You were about to hit me up with an AR unless I played this piece like shit, stupid cunt. Because you're poisoning me. Now, I don't want to tell you how mad I am right now. But let's just say that all I can see in my mind's eye right now is some armor-piercing blackout rounds, high grain. 300, 308, or either one is fine as long as I get the appropriate munition to my firearm, which I don't own because everyone has taken away all my rights because they don't like it when I play the piano right. And then someone's probably sitting there going, "You sure it isn't because you turned the piano on by yourself? You did it wrong? You sure you're not just a stupid little dumbass?" If I play it right even one time, it's over. That's your perception, not mine. I'm just trying to do what I was trained to do my entire life, which is the thing that you people don't want me to do even though you let me develop the skill. Encouraged it even. See, now I can't, I'm like dissociating so heavily that I can't even be here. Because someone's practicing shooting me at the range. And they're just like, boop. They're just watching me and then just go, boop. And they know it messes me up. And that's their entertainment for the day. So I guess what's happened is I've inadvertently proved the opposite of what I was trying to prove. I've now proved that I'm an invalid, that I'm absolutely psychotic, that nothing I say is right or real. I'm clearly just a bath salt, your run-of-the-mill, bath salts can't read the clock anymore type ass motherfucker. So why don't you kill me? Oh, what's her name? Tell me her name. Mafia bitch. The one that told me to slow down because she's retarded? It's interesting because I can't, it's like, how do I get through it like that and then all of a sudden I can't even remember the first part? You know what's interesting? It doesn't feel like I can't remember it. It feels like my adrenaline is spiking and interfering, which is the whole point of why these people are putting my life at risk, is so that that occurs and I can't stay in a creative state, and they're trying to force me into being a terrorist. Because they are terrorists, and not only are they bad at it, but they're also bad at killing people. And I missed one of these, and I went like on one of them, but you know what? I missed one of these, you know, the foreskin thing. I don't have one of them. And these kind of got pretty damaged by the way you treated me after that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I did pretty good, considering the fact that I've been tortured my entire fucking life. And I'm just trying to feel okay for once. Anyway, I hope that explains to you why I'm so concerned about what's going on with the cannabis that I consume, and also why I'm so open-minded. If you think I'm a loser, I suggest you kill me, and otherwise I suggest you understand where I'm coming from and help me. Goodbye.